All righty, so here we are in December 15th. It's a meeting that I know Paul's been planning for, and of course, Stacy Strobel is here from EXIT Southeast region, and I've been putting a little time in myself. This is something that I'm really passionate about, and something that when I had my office in Bend, Oregon, was just a regular procedure that we did, with the exception of 2020, got a little goofed up with COVID. So this is something I think that's very important. We had scheduled 2 hours for everybody. Let me admit somebody, 2 hours for this. I'm going to try not to keep you here for 2 hours. I know that the mind can only absorb what the butt can endure. So I'm aware of that, and try to keep it to 90 minutes, but certainly want to get your thoughts, your comments, everything that's important to you in this call as well. So I want to start by sharing my screen for just a second, and then I'm going to introduce Stacy Strobel to reintroduce her to everybody. And she has a few comments she would like to make. We're so fortunate to have her here. Let me just share my screen for a second and see if I can. Hopefully you can all see what I've got on the screen. And I've shown it before. Some of you might have seen it, but might have been at a meeting where there were fewer people. This is a goal-setting napkin. And I made it a point every year in my office to meet with every agent to sit down with their goals. The point is, it matters not the kind of paper that you write your goals on. What matters is that you've given a clear thought and that you are doing it with intention. And this one happens to be from the gal that purchased my office in Bend, Oregon, Juana Beatty. And on this particular goal setting, we sat down for lunch, and I had forgot some of my paperwork. So guess what? We did goals on a napkin. And you can see what took center stage in this goal setting was smack dab in the center, was her goal to do 50 transactions. And as you look around the napkin, you're going to see ways that she had planned to get there. She had looked right below 50 transactions. You can see what the average was, $375,000 to $400,000 average. We're going to be looking at that tonight in our own areas. She had thought through, she knew what the averages were. She knew up the upper left-hand corner, something we're not going to have time for, but she knows how important health and the importance of family and the importance of planning vacations before anything, and the importance of family. And as you look around the napkin, you can see that she thought it out. And so tonight, what I'm asking you to do is, whether you write this on a napkin or whether you use the booklet that I sent out to everybody, hopefully you were able to print it. If you weren't, just grab paper. We'll go through this. And again, if we need to. But you can see how she wanted to do her business in the bottom right-hand corner. She wanted 30 listings. And that was her primary goal, to get to 50, knowing that with 30 listings, that certainly 25 other transactions would likely come, 20 transactions would likely come from buyers. So the point is, we don't need anything fancy. What I sent you, the booklet I sent out today, is in black and white. It's not shiny or special. It's not bound in any certain way. But let's take that paper, like Juana took the napkin, and let's make this evening the beginning to something that is going to be something sensational for you in 2023. We all have a lot of work to do, and we're going to try to work through that. And I want to tell you that how I built this really is by the process that you all know me who've been on any calls, that the Tom Ferry method of R&D. Does anybody remember what R&D is? It's rip off and duplicate. And so I've ripped off and duplicated at least 5 different business plans in the last 2 weeks. and took just pieces of them that I thought would be important to you and would be pointed in a way that would benefit you. And so none of this is original. Some of it's taken from the Exit Planner, which is a great planner. Some of it's taken from Tom Ferry. Some of it's taken from Joe Stump, and some of it's taken from people that you've never heard of. And I wanted to bring pieces of all that in. So I hope you enjoy the next 90 minutes or so. And so thank you for being here. For Paul, I know he's thankful that you're here, and this is important to him. And so I want to introduce Stacy Strobel. Stacy is the franchise owner for Exit Southeast, along with Kenny Lynn. And Stacy lives in Nashville. I thought she was in Florida, but she's a Nashville gal. And she is growing this Southeast region by leaps and bounds. I recently saw a video that they posted. Stacy and Kenny do lots of videos, and my hat's off to them for that. The last video was a bunch of new franchises on the desk that they were going through. How many, Stacy, were you going through on that video? How many new franchises have you opened in just the last, what, month?
That was 10 that we have signed over the last now it's 45 days. Yeah.
Yeah, 45 days. So 10 new franchises. So let there be no doubt that this company is growing leaps and bounds, and the leadership in the franchise ownership apparently knows what the heck they're doing. And part of knowing what they're doing is part of the reason that we're here tonight. Stacy, right? We're here because Stacy has asked me and Paul to put together this planning session in part for her and Kenny. You see, she can't plan what their company, what our big franchise ownership company can do unless she knows and Kenny knows what we're doing. So this exercise is not only for you, but it is for Paul, because it's hard to know how to take care of your own office without knowing what all of you plan on doing with your lives and your business. And certainly for Stacy, she really needs an idea of what each company is going to do, what they're going to bring to this party. And the more that we're able to do, the more that she's able to do for us. And so that's why we're here tonight. And I will make it clear, but what we need to do tonight with this in this goal setting session is to put together your 2023 plan. I'll direct you exactly what I will need, and the results of your planning need to be sent to me so I can get it to Paul and Stacy so they both know our numbers. Will everybody agree to that? Does that seem reasonable to everybody? That we're going to put your numbers together. We're going to get them to the people that need to be able to plan with your numbers. And so that's why we're doing it. So Stacy, go ahead. I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts and a little bit about what's going on, and especially about the event that's happening in the spring in Florida. Don't forget to mention that for everyone here. So please go ahead. And everyone else, if you would, please mute your microphones until you need to speak, so we don't have background noise and so forth. So Stacy, welcome again.
Well, thanks, Jim. I appreciate you guys letting me come in tonight. I just want to say thank you for showing up tonight. I mean, it's real easy to say, oh no, I want to go to dinner, or Avatar came out tonight, so there's a big premiere going on for that. I mean, there's just all kinds of excuses. I got to finish Christmas shopping, things like that. But the ones who showed up tonight, and the ones who are making the choice to further their career by simply visualizing it and writing it down, that makes the biggest difference. I mean, you can think about it and say, oh, I'd love to have XYZ, whether it's 50 listings or a new Ferrari, or maybe, home ownership or whatever it may be. But when you write it down and you visualize it, it makes all the difference in the world. And you say it out loud. You know, my business partner, Kenny, he says, if you ever get me to say it out loud, I'm going to do it. I always do what I say. So, you know, we go back and forth with how many franchises we're going to sell every year, and whatever he ends up saying, we know we're at least doing that. We're going to do as many as we can, but we're at least doing that. And so it's just, you know, I think it makes a big difference. So I applaud everybody that's on the call tonight. I know Jim and I have been brainstorming for Paul and his office, and it's going to be a great night. The things that he's got down for you guys to get going is going to be life-changing. It's what you do with it, though. You know, we always say, hey, don't be a finger pointer, turn it around and point it at yourself. You've got to have the accountability. So if you're writing it down tonight, make it where it's attainable. Don't, you know, say, no, next year I'm going to sell, you know, 200 houses, and maybe you only sold 2 this last year. Well, before you can get to 200, let's try to get to 20 and start from there. So let's don't do pie in the sky. Let's make it truly attainable. And that allows Paul to plan events and things that he is going to do to further his office for you guys. And then that allows us to speak with Paul and Jim and know, you know, what we need to do and how we need to grow and help you guys in that area. So I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate you letting me be on the call. I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but I did want to throw a plug in for the rally. The Exit Southeast rally is in March at Universal Studios. It is March 13th through the 15th. We planned it that way because 99% of our areas are on spring break that week. So bring your kids, make it a family affair. We've got ticket prices built into different stuff, and you know, we're going to have a good time. But you know, we've got trainers and coaches and you know, all kinds of people coming in, but we are actually, and I'm gonna pirate something from Bob, we're actually going to fill your toolbox with all kinds of tools. So this is not just for owners. It's not just for the top agents. This is for agents of every level. If you're a brand new agent and you want to get your business started, you can't afford not to be there. If you're a $20 million producer and you want to get to $30 million, you can't afford not to be there either. We've got something for everybody. Bob has been to our events many times. He can attest that they're just so invaluable, and we would love to see everybody there. So I'm going to give you guys a little hint tonight. Some of you have gotten some emails from me. If you've made sales volume for year to date of 2022, if you have done over $1 million in production and sales volume, you will be receiving an award at the rally. You will be walking across the stage. So we'd love to see you there to get it in person. Those who have not reached that award this year to date, that's okay. Since you guys invited me into your Zoom, I'm going to give you a little special code that'll get you a $60 discount on the tickets. When you go to purchase your ticket, go through to the end till you get to the checkout, and the code is EXIT SE1. And that will give you a $60 discount on the tickets. I'm not telling anybody else this. I'm telling you guys right now because you made the effort and you showed up tonight. And I think that's worth something. So I would love to see you there. So that's your homework for tonight, right? Go and do what you need to do to get yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit, and your family to the next level. And you're in the right place to do that tonight. Jim, I've got some homework for you though. Are you ready?
Right. I'm ready.
You've got 2 beautiful females behind you on those banners. I would like to see my face on one of those the next time I zoom in.
Okay. I just took that note down, and
Thank you.
you made an excellent point. I'll know the next time.
That's the first.
I mean, Bob, is that unreasonable, Bob?
I'm telling you, that just so makes me giggle. I mean, that's the first vanity I've ever seen from you, Stacy. I love
I'm
it.
just trying to lighten it up. Listen, I got to go to Chick-fil-A. You guys have a wonderful time. And I'm really proud of everybody that's on the call. Thanks for allowing me in. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Bye, Stace.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye, Bob. Bye, Jim. Bye, Paul. See you.
See you later. Thank you. All right. That's very generous of her to take her time. And if everybody has that code, go into that and make sure as we talk tonight about your planning, I suggest, which you'll hear again, that as you're planning your calendar, we're going to be looking at your calendar for 2023, that you put down those things that are important to you and your family. On my calendar, it's suggested by experts that you always put time away primary to everything. So you have that time away. When I was actively doing deals in the business, I did 3 open houses a month, 3 weekends a month, and the fourth week was always free. So I always planned that weekend I would be with my family. I always planned the vacations ahead of time. And this event, I'm guessing, will return everything it cost you to go if you take part in the event and you take the things they teach you and you run with them. Okay. So again, thank you for Stacy. I'm recording this and she asked me for the recording, so I'll get it to her. So Paul would love to address you and talk about his vision for the office for 2023, talk to you a little bit what's going on. And Paul, go ahead.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks to all of you for being here. And for the 2 new faces, Anthony and Michael, thrilled to have you join us. Some of the things we'll cover, you may hear some new terminology and things. Just don't worry about that. Reach out and we'll hear it time and time again. Goal setting is so important to success. But why is it that 90% of people that set out to do things, lose weight, learn languages, increase their income, they fail? And part of the process, I think, is not having a process, and perhaps sometimes not even starting from the right place. I'm going through a goal setting process right now for our franchise, for myself personally, but also for our office. And I'm also, for those of you who don't know, I'm a professional real estate coach. I coach commercial realtors. Most of them average at least $1 million worth of personal income, one as high as 20 million a year. And the process isn't any different. And I've seen over the years of doing this what works and what doesn't work. And I'm here to tell you what Jim's about to share with you can have a tremendous impact on your life. I'll color it a little bit before we get started to share with you a little bit about our office and tie this into this process. I have found over the years of doing this that when I've had a definitive plan that initially is anchored by what I really want, I have a much greater probability of achieving success. And that's a hard question to ask yourself, because a lot of us do this and do many things. We go through motions without stopping to say, what do I really care about? What's the why driving this? And following that by, what is it going to take to accomplish that? And not blowing smoke up your skirt, but actually really taking this to heart and say, okay, if I really want to make X number of dollars, if I really want to be a success in this business, what do I have to do? And then the third step is committing to that. And that's a tough one too. But if it's not something you really want, the likelihood that you'll carefully figure out what it takes and then, even more importantly, follow through is significantly less than if you start with something that you really want to accomplish. And I'm building to something here. And the last piece of that followed by is, don't do it alone. And it's so important to have mentors and encouragement from people that care about you, that you care about, that you respect, and that have walked the path when possible. So in this regard, I've looked at my 7 years now, I guess, of franchise ownership with EXIT, as well as my 39-year career in the real estate industry. And I've asked myself, I said, what do I want as a franchise owner? And what do I want for you? And I said, okay, well, let's start with where we are. And let's talk a little bit about that. I can tell you unabashedly that owning a residential franchise has cost me money versus making me money. But the important reason I share that with you is because I'm not doing this for money. It's not that money isn't important. I do significantly much better selling commercial real estates and investments and other things that I do. But I do this, and I told Bob McKinnon when I got involved in it, because I'm sincerely interested in helping change lives, and I'm sincerely interested in living a life of significance. And for me, significance is helping others. I make a decent living, but when I help you make a decent living, I get fulfillment out of it. And so tying that into what I want to do with this franchise and what do I want it to be known for, you know, there's a lot of places where you can hang a shingle and some people will teach you how to show a house. But I don't know that they necessarily care enough about you to really show you how to make a living in this business and how to be successful in a balanced fashion. And so I was quite attracted to the EXIT franchise. And so I think about that. I said, well, how have we done so far? And I'm not ashamed of my record as a franchise owner by any means, but I'm not nearly satisfied with where we are, knowing what we can do, particularly in light of the talent that's sitting on this call. For those of you who don't know, Bob McKinnon is an icon in the industry, one of the original founders of Century 21. Jim Mazziotti has been through the Tom Ferry coaching system. He's been a franchise owner. Mike Riego has managed a very successful office in New Mexico. I've done $1 billion worth of real estate transactions in my career. And as I sit and think about the horsepower we have here, there's no reason we aren't the shining star in the EXIT system as well. So my question is, well, how do we get there? So I want to share some things with you briefly here. And I promise, Jim, I'll cut this off here quickly. I want to take a look at where are we now. And right now we have approximately 20, or we have exactly 28 agents in our office. I've circled the wagon a little bit because we were spread a little too thin between Frisco and Grapevine and leadership and staffing. So I've consolidated everything into Grapevine so that we can do more, not necessarily with less, but I think we can do more effectively. I've looked at last year. The books aren't closed yet for the year. We still have a couple of weeks to go yet, but we're going to hit somewhere around $1.5 million of gross commissions for the year, which was comprised of 153 transaction sides. And I'm going to look at probably an operating loss of just under $30,000, which that's okay for the risks that we've taken here. But this should be a highly profitable office. And a highly profitable office means that we have successful agents that are achieving their goals, doing a reasonable number of transactions. We as a company, Jim's going to talk to you a little bit about that, but we are going to start to establish some very visible benchmarks for what we want you to do. And then we're going to back that up with the support and the help to help you achieve what that is. But I think it's important that you know where we're starting from, so that next year when we have this talk and we talk about operating profits and commissions and we talk about your goals and your achievement of it, you realize where we're coming from. Second thing I wanted to share with you was what made up these deals and these transactions to get a flavor for where we've been and what we do. Out of $1.5 million in commissions, we sold 46 listings, 76 buyer reps. There were 6 referrals and 25 leases were done. Hey, I've been in this business a long time, and I look at where opportunity exists, and I've been successful putting campaigns together because I think about what people want. I look at the market and I say, what does the market want? And it's the exact same thing that you need to be doing, and we need to help you do that. 2022 was an incredible seller's market. We had a housing shortage, which we still have. There was cheap money in the market, and you couldn't put a house on the market fast enough without selling it. Yet we predominantly represented buyers. We screwed up. And this year, we're going to take a much closer look at what's going on with the market and the campaign, and we're going to help you do that. And I mention these things because these themes should be prevalent in your business plans as you think about how you're going to achieve your goals. I also looked at 6 referrals. Do you realize EXIT Realty has over 80,000 agents all across North America in every major market? And Dallas-Fort Worth is a market that has prolific opportunities for sending business all around North America. And we as a company only sent out 6 referrals. we're not asking the questions. I've got to do a better job of training you. And as you think about the potential, 25% referral fees for asking a question and filling out a piece of paper compared to all the time it takes you to drive someone around trying to find a house in this market as a buyer's rep. This is a golden opportunity. Integrate it into your business plans. And then I looked at 25 leases. Yes, leases are important because we develop relationships, but quite candidly, as you all know that have done leases, it takes up a lot of time. You don't make a lot of money from it unless you get referrals and turn it eventually into a sale. So the reason I share this with you is I look what we've done. What gets measured gets managed. I know what we've been doing. I've been looking at it. I wanted to share it with you so that you'll look at it too and think about these types of numbers, and you'll start to realize how important it will be for you to track your numbers. So you look at, are you doing the right things? What makes successful agents, whether it's my $20 million client that I coach, it's the $5 million that I coach, or it's the $100,000 producer that takes his business up to 500 1 year. They do the same things. And what are those key elements? Number one, they know their brand and they know their value proposition. This is not a hero business. This doesn't even take rocket science. But if you truly understand what you do and how it is of value to the people you're trying to interact with, they will be attracted to you like a magnet. If we don't know our value propositions, we're not going to be as successful as we can. My goal for you and my commitment to you is to help you truly understand that in the process of the trainings that we're going to do ahead. Secondly, successful agents will consistently market and they will consistently prospect. If you're not happy with your success from this past year, ask yourself, how much time did you spend truly marketing yourself, marketing your value proposition, and how much time did you spend doing meaningful prospecting? I can tell you, Jeb Blunt is one of my favorite coaches and trainers. And if you haven't read his book, Fanatic of Prospecting, you're missing out. He will tell you the single most important factor for success in the sales business is prospecting. And there's no shortcuts. Thirdly, successful agents have quality systems and quality workflow. This business has unlimited potential. And the minute you can figure this out and how to automate and leverage people who are a lower pay grade than you, or at least what you plan to achieve to be, and you can leverage those systems, you can put a large part of this business on autopilot. I tell my nephew, Boo, who this year will probably hit 750,000 in commissions. I tell him he's earning at 20% of what he could do if he would just start to leverage systems. We have the systems. You are a part of a franchise now that has some of the best technology in the world. We're committed to help you really, truly understand how to use that and apply that knowledge. Kim has volunteered graciously to be our technology leader. And along with Annette Anthony and your leadership team, we're going to make sure that you truly have an understanding of this. And this, again, needs to be leveraged into your business plan. Lastly, successful agents are absolutely clear on what they want. They absolutely commit to doing what it takes to get what they want. And they are on a never-ending journey to improve their skills and their knowledge base. People hire experts, they hire specialists. Yes, they have to trust you. Yes, they have to like you. But when you stand out as having true value in your skills and your knowledge, and they know that, your phone will ring. And that's why successful agents, on average, 60, 70% of their business comes in on a repetitive basis. So where does all this go? I want, in my vision of owning an exit franchise, is to look back on this when I'm done and say, we are known as the office that develops highly skilled and highly productive agents. I want the rest of the marketplace talking about that. When they talk about EXIT Elite, I want them to say, man, that's the shop that turns agents into producers. That's the shop that gives them the training, the tools, and the support to be success. Those guys work harder, they work smarter, and the other thing is they create wealth for their agents and financial security. If we can look back on this in 36 months, 60 months, and we can say these things about us, and more importantly, others say about it, then I'm going to look back with a smile on my face more than looking at the success that I'll find in my bank account once we achieve this. And I hope that by sharing this with you, I hope you'll adopt some of these same feelings and feel the same thing about it. How do we do this? It starts out with a well thought out plan. That's why we're here tonight. We're going to turn this over to Jim here in 30 seconds, and he's going to show you how to do this. But in addition to the plan, knowing is not doing. It needs a well thought out plan. It needs deliberate steps, very deliberate steps towards a goal. It involves trying, failing, adjusting, try, fail, adjust, try, fail, adjust, try, fail, succeed. Most people, including myself, don't get this right the first time. I've been at this 6, 7 years. I'm going to get it right. And Bob McKinnon's been around long enough, and Jim's getting to know me long enough to know that we're always changing things, but we're changing it because our goal is we're going to get this right and we're going to succeed together. And then lastly, and probably the most important thing, this is going to get accomplished because we're going to help each other each step of the way. We're consolidating our office. We're expanding our leadership team. We're stepping up the game and the commitment here, and it starts tonight with a plan. So thank you for being here. Jim, thank you for doing this, and I look forward to helping each one of you on every step of the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for providing that to us.
Jim?
Yes, go ahead.
Before we move on from that thought, Paul, I'm speaking to this team, excuse me, on a very, very personal note. When Paul says to you that we're consolidating, meaning we're consolidating into Grapevine, the history there is, see, I sold Paul this franchise personally. I sold the franchise in Frisco personally to a young couple. They got called kind of immediately, and there was an opportunity for them to take their family to the Caribbean. And I mean, they left just right away, which left us with a hole there in Frisco. We had a flag planted in Frisco, and it was about to fall over. It was Paul Ritz that said, I don't want that flag to fall over. He stepped in and he bought that franchise from Jack. He kept it going. And it's those kinds of things from the team perspective of a franchise that are important. Paul didn't have to do that. In fact, Paul, it was just exactly at the wrong time for you. You were just getting South Lake going and getting it started, and all of a sudden, boom, 30 minutes away, he's got another one, and he's dividing his energies. There's nothing more healthy for this company than to Paul to consolidate this into one center of emotion, one center of energy, one of team. It's a great move for the company. It's a bold move for the company. But historically, Paul, I want this team to know that you stood up for exit. You didn't let that flag fall, and you did something that I think is very important for us, and I appreciate it. So as you consolidate, I think it's a good move. It's a healthy move for the company.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And Bob is going to, after we go through the goals, Bob is going to come back and has been gracious enough to stick around. I don't want to skip past Mike. As you know, the leadership team is made up of 4 of us. And I can tell you, I've seen the amount of time and I've heard about the effort from all of you that Mike puts into this business and puts into you. And I know Paul is appreciative. We all are to Mike. And so I want to make sure that Mike could give you the opportunity to say whatever you might like to say about goals and setting and maybe your experience before we dig deep into this.
You can skip me. That's okay.
Don't want to skip.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So just based off personal experience, when me and my wife, we were actually a real estate team at some point, and now she homeschools our kids. So she's stepped away and she's focused on that. And so now I'm the Lone Ranger. of our team. So I had to figure things out in two different aspects: moving to a whole new state in a new market area, and somewhere where we weren't as established as we were before. And so just kind of backing up to when we started, we were with a small office, a boutique office. They didn't have training. They just kind of just threw us out to the wolves and said, hey, you got your license now, go sell some houses. And we luckily had a pretty good sphere of influence. And so we had people that we knew. I had clients from doing insurance, and so we had a place to start, but we had no training. So I didn't know that you needed to have a business plan. I didn't know that you had to do anything. I was like, okay, so we're going to start selling houses, and we're going to get commissions, and we'll get a 1099 and do whatever. And so we got our first tax bill, and we're kind of floored and a little scared. Yeah, it was a lot of money that we had to pay, but also we were blessed that we made a good amount of income our first year. But we had no planning. We didn't know what we were doing. And so going into the second year, we kind of figured out, well, okay, we need to actually make a plan. We need to have some goals and figure out what we're actually doing and actually have a business. We didn't know what we were doing. I had a salary and I got commission before, and I had worked commission positions in the past, but it was still W-2. I wasn't running a business. And so the second year was a little bit better, and that was only because I talked to a tax person and we set up a company and did that aspect. And so we were about a year and a half in, and then the EXIT franchise opened up in Los Alamos. And so a little previous to that, we had a lot of training, of course, with EXIT. So, but right before that is when we started like setting goals, and we're like, okay, we're going to do, this is what we need to make to pay our bills, which, Jim's going to cover this. So what we need to make to survive. This is what we can afford to spend on, marketing, our signs, everything that we're going to do. And this is what we actually want to make. And so going back to that first year, we didn't have a plan. I mean, we did well, and it was just, it was chaos though. We didn't know what we were doing. The second year, we actually had a plan, and we knew what we wanted to, and we hit every goal that we set, and we actually exceeded it. Going into the third year, we have EXIT, and we have that kind of backing, and we had training from, our franchise owners, Chris Harrison and Joe Arnone, helped us with setting up. We were a new franchise, and they helped us with setting goals and doing training like what we're doing now. And to be honest with you, we had great training, but it's nothing compared to what even Jim does with us. And it wasn't that intense. It wasn't on a weekly basis. They did what they could. We did what we could with people that were in the office, and we kind of winged it at first, to be honest with you. But we made it work, and we had the tools that, EXIT provides for us. And, we reached out to people, with corporate and with our region, and they helped us, and they helped us to be successful. But the big thing was the difference between when we didn't set goals and when we did set goals was a huge difference. We set our second year, we set a goal to sell 25 units or 25 sites, and we ended up selling 32. But we had everything planned out, just like what, all the stuff that I just printed here, that Jim sent us over. We had an actual plan, what we were going to market, how many people we're going to talk to. Everything was just laid out, and we exceeded that goal, far beyond what we had even expected. And so we continue to do that every year. And just going back to look back at the first year, and even like the second year, where it was still kind of, not very organized and chaos, like I was saying, it was a huge difference, because we knew what we wanted to reach. We had something, we had our eyes on something. It's kind of hard to just say, okay, I need to sell a house. You know, I need something, get something on a contract so that I can make the mortgage in, 4 weeks. It's hard to go about it that way and just try to figure out what we got to do. I know a lot of us don't have, some of us have, maybe there's other income or we have other jobs or anything, but for us, it was scary because this is all we did. When we came into this business, it started out with my wife actually saying, she was pregnant with my daughter. And she said, I want to do real estate, as a part-time gig, and she was kind of thinking, okay, let's do it for a little bit. And then when the kids go to school, then maybe I can move full-time and kind of go that route. And I was doing insurance at the time. And we started getting a little bit more and more serious about it. And then she was going to start going through licensing and everything. And it was just kind of this is how our family works. We kind of, just like moving here to Texas and we do set goals and we make things happen. But I said, well, I kind of like real estate too. I've learned a lot about it with doing insurance because of, property values, knowing how to insure houses, how much they need to be insured for, replacement costs and that kind of thing. But I also really enjoyed, seeing that side of it. And so I just kind of threw it out there and I said, hey, what if I give Lou, which was the agency, Lou Santora was the agency that I worked with. But if I give Lou like a month's notice and then we just both get licensed and do this together. So we did it. And, we were very successful and we reached all the goals that we, at the time, set before us. And it made a huge difference than just trying to just wing it. I mean, it doesn't work when you just try to wing it, honestly. And I don't have any more.
All right, Mike, thank you. I think that gives you a look into at least how Mike, has approached the business, and appreciate those thoughts. Thank you, Mike. So, Anthony and Michael, so glad that you're here with us. And so we're going to take a deep dive in. And what we're going to do tonight is the beginning. I want to make this clear. This is not an all hour and a half thing where we're going to walk out and you're going to have a completed business plan. There's going to be work for you. And I want you to know that as you do this, you have until December 31st to complete this for Stacy, as you heard from Stacy. So I want you to know that Mike and Paul and I, we're here to help you with any questions you have. Again, I just want to make it clear that this is the beginning. And Anthony and Michael, and for the rest of you, I want you to remember one thing tonight, that a number that I have written down is that 25% of agents are doing 73% of all the business in our profession. So I want you to think about that for just a second. 25% of the agents are closing 73% of all the business. And there's 43% of all agents who have sold nothing for the year. 43%. That can't stand. It's not healthy. It's not good. And as we're entering a challenging market, I think we're going to probably see huge numbers of people, agents that are going to leave the business. And the reason I believe that they're going to leave the business is because they're not prepared to do the business. And they're going to leave because they don't know what to do. So tonight, I just want to try to help you put together a plan so you can be prepared and you will know what to do and what to do next in your business. So let's get down to it and let's get busy. Can everybody see do I have it correct here?
Yep.
Yes? Yeah. Good. Okay. So first quote, as you can see, if you printed it out, was from Tom Ferry. I was coached by Tom Ferry for 7 years by his organization. Without a written plan in place, you're simply rolling the dice with your future. Take this seriously, because that's why we're doing a written plan, that we're starting this process tonight. Before we get going, 4 dates I want you to write down. And for those of you that were on a prior call where I gave you some dates, I want you to remove those from your schedule. I've changed them up. Tammy Bonnell, our co-leader for the company, recommends that we all review our goals, and we look at our goals every 12 weeks. So from tonight, I built into what I want to do with you is have you all come back, not for a 2-hour deal, but to come back, or allow me time to work with you or Paul or Mike to review your goals, to see where you're at and to change them up. This is not a do it one time and you're done. This is something you have to review. So here's the 4 dates. It's in the printed material that you have. And we'll do these meetings, 11 o'clock, they're Thursday meetings, and they'll be about every 12 weeks, okay? So we're gonna do tonight, gonna get you started on setting your goals. We're gonna come back in 12 weeks and we're gonna say, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? Where do we need to pivot? Pivots are going to be in order in 2023. They are going to be in order. So this is not a love you, leave you type of relationship that we're doing tonight. This is a continuation for some time. So these are our objectives for tonight. I'm going to read them very quickly because we've got a lot to do. I want to identify with you as we start and as we end what you're going to keep doing in your business, what you're going to keep doing that you've been doing. I want you to identify what you're going to stop doing. Saying no to things is one of the most powerful tools we have, but we don't use it enough. What are you going to stop doing? And then identify before we start what you're going to start doing. And maybe hopefully when we get to the end, you will have gained some ideas to things that you're going to start. Maybe things that you're going to keep doing and things you're going to stop. We're going to address foundations for your business. We're going to look at the SWOT theory of, we're going to look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. We're going to look at your first SMART goal. We're going to examine 6 median sales markets, and that will help you set the guidelines for how much you want to make, so you have a number to work for. We're going to examine per transaction site average commissions, discover the number of transactions you need to do to meet your minimum financial goal. And we will examine residual income possibilities, something that I believe only Kim is doing in our company. Kim with 2 M's gets this whole thing. And if you don't get it, I put it on me. It's my fault if you don't get it, because I haven't talked enough about it. Just in the last year, I've done 46 trainings in this company since December of last year, 46, and I really have not touched on residual income. Shame on me. We've got to correct that. We're going to examine prospecting activities and build your prospecting activities for 2023. We're going to look at a sample marketing plan to help you build yours. We're going to break down some numbers. We're going to examine 4 requirements. We're going to look at an hour-by-hour plan, vital for your business. We're going to look at your 1-year daily calendar, and we will look at the weekly calendar worksheet that you must adopt. And then finally, I want you to just focus on this for a second, the very bottom. Finally, what I need from you, what Stacy and Paul need from you, are 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 11, 12, 16. You'll get it as we're doing this, okay? These are the numbers. We need to know what you're going to keep doing, stop doing, start doing. I don't have to go through it all. These numbers correlate with what's on top of them. All right, so let's get going. We're going to take just a little bit of time for you to write these things down. If you were unable to print this booklet, just grab a piece of paper. Just please write down things. Write down now what you're going to keep doing that you've been doing in your business. And Anthony and Michael, you haven't, but I'm guessing you're coming from somewhere. You've done something else. And so you do have habits. You do either exercise or you don't. You eat right or you don't. There's things in your life that you do. What are you going to keep doing, everybody? Very briefly, what are you going to keep doing that you believe is working for you in 2023? Write them down now. I'll be quiet for just a minute. And again, don't worry if you're unable to get all this completed. This is the beginning, okay? What are you going to keep doing? Okay, next, what are you going to stop doing? Things that you might stop doing are things that are just not healthy, that aren't good for your business, that aren't good for your family. All of this is intertwined. Don't think that this is just about deals. I hate the word deals. I've always hated but it's part of the language of our business. This is more than just the deals. What are you going to stop doing in 2023? This is meant to be reflective, to be something that you really stop and think about. Next, what are you going to start doing? And so as we're entering this, you may not even know what the heck you're going to start doing. Maybe you haven't been doing anything. Anthony and Michael, you're new to this business, but you might want to write down the kind of things you think you're going to start doing. Okay, so we've talked about this before, and please remind me when we get to the end and before Bob wraps everything up, or maybe right after Bob wraps things up, we'll come back to this. Okay. So there's more writing to do. This is important, but get it started now. And it's something you can complete in the next 2-week period of time. Your commitment. Now let's be serious. I'm not necessarily, although I'm asking for your plan to hand off to Stacy and Paul. I'm not going to take your things and I'm not going to discuss them with anybody else. So you will be provided full confidentiality, but what's going to be your commitment this year? What are you going to do? Now in this, it says, what are you going to do? Message yourself and your coach. You may not have a coach. You may not have an accountability partner. You should, hopefully after tonight, you're going to reach out and you're going to find somebody, whether it's me or whether it's Mike or Paul or whether it's whoever it might be. And who's going to help you implement this plan? Okay, what's your commitment? And are you really committed? The 25% of agents that are doing 73% of all the business are probably a little bit committed. The 43% of all agents who haven't closed anything probably aren't too committed. Accountability. What additional accountability do you need? What do you need to ensure your success? This is a tough business to go alone. It's really tough. What do you need? It says, let your coach know. If you don't have a coach, it doesn't matter. Let yourself know. What do you need to do? And your why. Recently, some of you took part in something called the 5, 6, and 7, a Joe Stump tool of really discovering your why. If you weren't part of that, I feel badly that you weren't. Not because I led the thing, but it's not mine. It's Joe Stump's. But it's discovery. So what motivates you? What is it? And write it down. Let's move on to your vision. So what is your vision statement? What does it say about you? in your business in the future, 3-5 years from now? You know, Tom Ferry this year, the #1 coach as far as number goes in America, he's not even addressing immediate goals. He's addressing 10-year goals. He wants people to focus on where they're going to be in 10 years. So what do you see for your future? What's your vision? Next, what's your mission statement? What is it that that really articulates the purpose of your business? What's your mission? What do you want to do? It needs to be something that the public knows. People, if you have a passion, people need to know your passion. They need to know your mission. And the values. Your values shape your identity. We all know that. So how do you deliver value? How do you embrace innovation? How do you maintain trust? How do you execute with relentless discipline? Or do you? Be honest with yourself. This is something where you have the opportunity to be honest with yourself. Let's move on. So this is something called SWOT, SWOT. You can see the 4 boxes. Might have talked about this in prior training. As I mentioned, I've done so many of them. I don't remember if we focused on that. But for you to know where you are at and where you need to go, do this now in the next 2 weeks. What are your strengths? What really makes you the kind of agent that people would want to work with? What makes you the person that can be the top agent in the office? What are your strengths? Do you speak well? Do you have scripts? Do you know words? Words are so important. Do you know them? What are your strengths? Do you have where you don't tire? You can walk and you can walk and you can knock doors. You can do everything you need to do. Or you could be me. You know, you're a 68-year-old man and, you know, with diabetes, with other problems that's self-imposed almost. But so there's things I don't have that you have. What are your weaknesses? What are you weak? What's weak in your business? And more importantly, when you point out your weaknesses, how can you remedy it? How can you remedy the weaknesses? If you don't know how to do something in our business, how do you remedy it? Where do you go to find an answer to correct the weaknesses that you have? Gosh, just in the last couple of weeks in preparing for this, there's thousands of places where you can go for business plans. Everything is at our disposal. So if you have a weakness, find an accountability partner, find a coach, find a way to take classes, read books, take part in discussions for your weaknesses. What opportunities do you have? Maybe you live in a special place where the opportunities to list properties, or maybe a place to work with buyers. Maybe you have opportunities, but you need to identify them so you know what opportunities are there. I live in a 55+ community. The opportunity for me is I know all these old farts here. And part of what I'm trying to do is meet them and let them know that I'm here to help them when they need help in buying or selling in this particular, that's an opportunity. Another opportunity might be working with a divorce attorney to help people with divorces. And there's so many. What are the opportunities for you? And then what are the threats? I believe one of the only threats is yourself. I'm not scared of any other agents. I don't see one company being a threat to me. I know I can be the best that I can be and I can overcome any threats. But what do you see as threats? Because it's real to you if you do see them. So identify your threats. Okay. I love this one. And this came from, I think it came from my real estate coach that I had, where he said, Jim, I can predict your future. If you show me your business plan, And if you can show me your calendar for the next 30 days, I can predict your future. I know how many transactions you'll do. I know how many you won't. So highlight this one. Show me your calendar. Work your schedule for the next 30 days. Give yourself 30 days. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. Give yourself the 30 days. And you can help yourself by knowing if you need an accountability partner. Do you have a coach? Are you positive? Are you passionate about the business? If you can hear a baby crying in the background, I apologize. It's my granddaughter, terribly spoiled, and my wife is out there spoiling her even worse. And so, again, are you persistent? Are you consistent? Are you confident? Competence brings confidence. Are you able to clarify your priorities? And you must be able to embrace discomfort. This can be a really uncomfortable business, Anthony and Michael. It's not all roses. You've got to embrace discomfort because there's going to be discomfort. What we're trying to do is find ways so you can go around the discomfort. And then again, identify your why. Why are you doing this in the first place? And we're going to look primarily tonight at a smart goal setting. We're going to look to be very specific with the goals that we set. We're going to be measurable so we can measure them, so we know if we need to do more or less. It's got to be achievable. It's got to be something achievable. It's got to be relevant. And it's got to be time-bound, smart, specific, measurable, attainable, achievable. Next is relevant. Next is time-bound. And here it is. So right now, very quickly, just let's get started. What do you want to accomplish? What is it you want to do? What is it? Do you know? What is it that you want to accomplish? You're here tonight. I'm so thankful that you took the time to be here. I know it means a lot to Paul. It means a lot to me that you took the time to be here. But why are you here? What is it you want to accomplish? Next, how are you going to know when it's accomplished? Is it going to be strictly how much money you earn, how many transactions you do? Next, is it achievable? How can the goal be accomplished? What do you have to do to accomplish it? Next, is it relevant? Does whatever goal you're setting, is it even relevant? Is it worthwhile that you're even doing it? And next, is it time-bound? And we've got to be time-bound. That's why we're coming back in 12 weeks, 4 times next year. We're going to look and we're going to see how you're accomplishing your goal. It's time-bound. Okay, so I want you to look at some basic numbers. I hope you can all see the screen. What I did is I basically went to list reports, something that all of you have access to if you're working with the right title person or lender, whatever. I think it's a lender. This is all available to you. So for discussion, I pulled up today the numbers from McKinney, Prosper, Grapevine, Grand Prairie, Flower Mound, and Keller. I know they're real. I know these are areas that people are working in. Okay. Now, Kim, with 2 M's, helped direct us last week on how to go through planning how much income you're going to make and the formula for doing it. So I encourage you, if you were not on the call last week, it's recorded and you should watch Kim's presentation as an engagement leader that she did for us that breaks down how much you have to make in order to get to where you want to go. I'm doing a super simple way to look at it. I'm pretty simple. You all know that who know me. I'm really simple. Okay. Anthony and Michael, if you would, I don't want to pick on you, but what market do you plan on working in, Anthony and Michael? Could you unmute yourself and just tell us?
I'll be in the Grapevine area. I'm from
Okay.
Grapevine.
All right, so
Grapevine,
this
South
will,
Dakota.
okay, and who is this, Michael, or is this Anthony?
This is Michael.
Okay, Michael, and so Grapevine area, okay. Anthony, how about you? What area? Able to unmute yourself? Yes? No?
It looks like he chatted. He's in McKinney.
Okay, so we have numbers that are real, and you can see that, man, do they vary. First point of order would be, if I'm setting up my business plan, do I want to work in Grand Prairie if it's just about money? If it's just, do I want to work Grand Prairie where it's $399, or do I want to work Prosper where it's $825? I work half as much as I need to make the kind of money that I want to make. That should be only one of the determinants. Okay. But these are the numbers. And so let me show you how I broke it down. Okay. This was how I did it. My estimator. This is how I look at it. So I don't know about Paul, don't know about Bob or Mike. This is what I look at. I looked at Grapevine, and I know that at the median price, 50% or more, 50% or less at $549.9, that one side of a transaction is going to yield to our office $13,747.50 at a 2.5% side. Okay. I think I did the math. I think I did the math right. 2.5% side. If you're fortunate enough to do both sides, which is pretty difficult, but if that ever happened, it would be twice as much. So $13,747.50. In our office, we're a 70% split office, right? We all are on the same split of 70%. 70% of 13,747 is 9623.25. And do you know what's really strange about this is that looking at NAR, the average split per agent is about $9,500. So we're right on course with what nationally is happening. So if this is just really simple, and I put in that, okay, if you get a listing, if it's a listing, or if you're driving people, gas money, other expenses, let's just figure that your cost for photographs, for marketing, for gasoline, for whatever, transaction fee, whatever, is going to be $1,000. Okay, let's just pick that number, $1,000. Might be more, might be less, but this is a discussion point. That would net you $8723.25 on a transaction that you just closed in Grapevine, Texas. And if that holds true, then to make $25,000, you need to do 3 transactions. To make $51,000, you need to do 6. To do 8, and I have 8 highlighted because that's exactly what EXIT Corporate has asked us, has really required us to do. In the franchise paperwork that you signed, the minimum set by EXIT Corporate is 8 transactions. 8 transactions is, I'm not going to say it's easy, but if you can't do 1 a month, then I know you're not working a plan. It's just that simple. If you do 10 transactions, it's 86,000. If you do 12, you're going to hit 103,000. Actually, it'd be a little more because you're going to be kicked into the, your commission's going to go up to 90%. I didn't break all that down. This is just to give you a number. So you can write on this, you can get a piece of paper. And so what I want to ask you now is what I ask everybody that I coach with and have asked several people here. How much do you have to make in 2023 to pay your bills, to make your mortgage payment or pay rent, to drive your car, to eat, entertainment, to do whatever? What is the minimum number that you need to bring home to pay all your bills? And I want you to write it down. Write it down right on this presentation, right on this piece of paper. You can write it right here. Give you a piece of paper if you printed this. If not, write it on a piece of paper. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. How much do you have to make in order to pay the bills? Bare minimum. This is, not going on big vacations, not driving the fanciest car, whatever it might be, unless that is your deal. How much do you have to make? And then second, right underneath that, looking at these numbers, how much do you want to make? How much do you want to make in 2023? Now, I can tell you, when I've been doing this for the last 15 years in my office, almost every time, the minimum was $40,000 for agents that I worked with. The minimum they have to make is $40,000 in Bend, Oregon, where I was. I don't know why, it just was. And what most people said is their goal is $100,000. I don't know why, but that's it. Yours might be different. So we know right now, I don't know what you've put down, but from this chart, we're going to use this. This is not going to be a complete business plan where we figure your expenses. That's something that needs to be done. That's something that we need to do. It's just not tonight. We need to figure out how you're going to pay for all the things, what the marketing is going to cost, what the education costs are going to be for you're going to seminars, for you going to the EXIT convention, for you going to Florida in the spring to attend the Southeast Rally. Okay. Does everybody have that? Just kind of give me a thumbs up. I can see several of you, how much okay. Thank you, Bob. What you have to make and that when you want to make. There's no number that's right. And if your number was how much you want to make is $200,000, we need to find a way to get there. And maybe it isn't possible, but maybe it is. Okay. That's the first thing we need to do. The second thing we need to do that's vitally important to you is residual income through sponsoring. The opportunity we have because we're with EXIT, you may not have even realized it, when you first came into EXIT. You might have come in because Paul is a pretty nice guy and you kind of, got along really well and you wanted to be in the office because, geez, he's pretty laid back, good guy. I'm going to go to EXIT. You might not even realize this, but I want you to realize this. I can just tell you from experience. I have not been Mr. Super Recruiter, Mr. Super Sponsor, but you can see, and if you don't believe me, I'll show you the check stubs. I've kept every one of the check stubs from checks that I've received over the last 15 years. It's not a huge number, but I can tell you from what I'm going to receive this month, it's going to go over $400,000. So in the last 15 years, because I sponsored agents into the company, I earned an additional $400,000 in 15 years. Now, do you know what I did with that money? I sent a couple kids to college. I had a hell of a lot of fun, and it helped me take care of the office that I was building. When I started my office 15 years ago, I had nothing. And so this money helped me build my business. So I want you to look at the formula here, that if the average on the first line, the average sales commission in your area, write in 96, 23, 25. And then 10% of that, which is the residual you'll receive, more or less. There's a few little fees that EXIT takes from you for processing all this. Just write down times 10 is $962. That means if you sponsor somebody in and they close one of those transactions at Grapevine where they receive a $9,600 commission, you're going to receive $962. It just comes. It's manna from heaven. It just comes. But if you do it in a planned, purposeful way, and Bob McKinnon is the king of teaching the language that you need to use to sponsor people into our company. Bob is the guy. Bob is the one that created the elevator speech on the whole sponsoring, the whole, what is EXIT? Okay. Bob created this. The desired income, let's just say you want to earn $2,000 monthly, $24,000 a year. When I was in the business, some of you have heard this, I did expireds, and my goal was from expireds, knocking 3 doors of expireds every day, 5 days a week, not weekends. But I knocked 3 doors, 5 days a week. My goal doing that was just to get 1 listing a month. And I knew if I had 1 listing a month, that I was damn good at selling and marketing, that I would get it sold, and I'd be able to take care of the minimum that I had to make for me. I could take care of that just from 1 transaction a month. If you want $2,000 monthly, here's how you plan it. You use this formula. And for this formula that I use, I need the person that I sponsor to do about 2 transactions a month. Okay. So one of the things I would ask you to consider thinking about is sponsoring. It is not a sales job. This is not a sales job. It's simply spreading the word of EXIT to people who you believe might be benefited by being in the business. That's one of the ways. Or other agents that are at dead ends with the offices that they're at, and many are. Remember, 43% of all agents have sold nothing in the last year. Do you think that they might need some recovery? Do you think they might need a rescue from somebody? Do you think that maybe we're the right place because we'll help people like Anthony and Michael get trained up so they can be successful? So this is how you figure residual income. Okay. Now, this sheet, which is what you have, is going to give you and the reason I put it here, prospecting activity ideas. So not picking on you, Anthony and Michael, but brand new guys. So you might be saying, okay, so I passed this test, I got through that, and now what the hell do I do? Okay, so I'm a real estate agent, now what do I do? And so one of the things you need to do in building your business plan is to look at all the different things that you can do in the business that you can focus on. I suggest you find 3 things from the list of activities that you could do. I did, just for the sake of discussion, I did geo-farming. Okay, I had a farm area, a place that I worked. I'm still doing that now where I live, where I did a planned mailing, door knocking to my geo farm, did it once a month. That was one of the things. I did expired. You heard me say that. That was the basis of my business. Okay. And so I did 2 things, and I did them pretty well. And I focused on those. I also did door knocking. You see door knocking here? Door knocking has the ability to provide huge opportunities for you. Know that in this business, especially Anthony and Michael, you need to have conversations. Write down the word conversations. You have to have conversations to get business, to be able to help people. So here's a few ideas, prospecting activities. And if we go to the next sheet, here's some modern day prospecting ideas. There's some more. I know Kim with 2 M's is working on one right now where she's going to have a buyer seminar. She sees that as a possibility of having people come, take part, and become a client. And you know what? A lot of buyer clients need to sell something too. They're a great opportunity to find sales and listings. Okay, so here's some other ideas. Don't need to focus on this. The primary focus was on how much you need to earn. This is just to provide you with ideas, because if you say, I don't know what to do, here's some ideas. And there's things that aren't even written on here that you can do. You know, last month, I brought in Mike from, oh gosh, Vincasa, which, you know, provides an opportunity for all of us to be able to have just another marketing tool for listings as an iBuyer. Vincasa works with iBuyers. It's something you can offer that nobody else, very few people have, that you can actually do. Vincasa would be another one on here. You know, I mentioned earlier, talking to divorce attorneys, to offer an attorney the ability to do free market analysis for his clients. When a husband and wife come into an attorney for a divorce, if they do have property to dispose of, you can almost be sure the wife doesn't want to use the husband's attorney and the husband doesn't want to use the wife's attorney. And so many times the divorce attorney says, let me get the value of your home. You want to be in the front seat with attorneys to be able to help them. I mean, there's many more, but this is what we have time to talk about tonight. Okay, now we're looking at your business plan. I want to look and provide you with just one example. And you can see this. This is, and you can make as many copies because I provided you a second one that you can make multiple copies of. This is an example of a geographic farm, which I mentioned that I have. The farm is identified as Rolling Mill Estates. Okay, 500 residences. I recommend that if you're starting a farm, you start with at least 200, and if there's not 200 in your farm, find 2 farms. This recommends 500. And here's a marketing plan. This is what this person was going to do with the geographic farm. He's going to do 24 open houses. He was going to do them. This is in a year time. He was going to do 12 bulk mailers. He was going to have targeted Facebook videos. Kim knows all about doing pointed videos, right? He was going to do annual community event booths. He was going to be places where people are, and he was going to have a booth. You could replace it with going to do buyer seminars, whatever. He's going to go to PTA board meetings. He was going to show that he was interested in the community. When I was in a small town in Iowa, this is not patting myself on the back, but I knew that I wanted to be involved in community politics and community leadership. So I worked to become a city councilman. I worked to be the president of the chamber and the president of economic development and on the board for the Red Cross and other things, because I wanted to be present. I wanted people to be able to know that I cared about the community. And one of the best things that you can do is get on boards and committees who need help. And I can tell you right now that I'm guessing that the Board of Realtors needs help on committees. You can get involved right there. You can meet other real estate agents. You can find out how to do business with them. You can talk to them about what they're doing to be successful. Okay, involvement, whether it's in your church, whether it's in your club, whether it's a PTA, matters not. Okay, community business association meetings and so forth. So from this marketing plan, you can see the nurturing plan. Again, the follow-up plan. You can see the prospecting plan. Okay, he's planning to buy, or she, whomever it is, Realtor.com leads, circle prospecting 3 days a week, doing neighbor invites semi-monthly with a goal of 5 transactions a month. This is a plan to get from here to there. And in 12 weeks, we would look at your plan for what you plan to do with your geographic farm. And in between that, talking to others that you work with in our office, whether it's Paul or whether it's Mike or myself or even Bob. Bob's a very busy guy, but all of us will help you shape how to get to where you want to be. So looking back at where we were just a few minutes ago, where we were right here, how many transactions do you need to make to get to where you want to go? I'm assuming that all of you want to get to $100,000. I'm just making that assumption because I've heard it so many times. You got to do 12 transactions. In this marketing plan, this person figured out how he was going to get 5 of the 12, if it was 12 that he was looking to close. And for this, for each of the lead sources, the audiences, you would build on that. So let's say you want to do expireds, which can be a tough road. Oh, you might want to do for sale by owners. Here's the marketing plan. What are you going to do? What's your networking plan? What's your nurturing plan? What's your follow-up plan? How many transactions do you want to do from FSBOs? Okay, so this is where you can start building out to get to 5, to get to maybe you want to do 4, that's 9, and you want to get to 12. You got to figure out what are you going to do to get 3 more. And here's another one. Does this make sense to everybody? Is this sensible to all of you? And does it? Let me know if it does. What questions might you have before I just ramble on?
Jim,
Make
I
sense?
might
Yes,
might comment that it's best to have multiple plans, but not too many that you won't do them. And we would recommend starting with 2, as you suggested, and then layer them in. But you know, in the beginning, it's a great way to try everything and see what fits your personality and where your successes might be.
exactly, Paul. You can't be everything to everybody. So again, as we look back, way back here, as you're looking into, you know, what your passion is, what is it that you want to do? What are your strengths, weaknesses? What are the threats? What are the opportunities in doing FSBOs? What opportunities do you have? All you have to do for FSBOs, this isn't a FSBO meeting, but go to Google and type in FSBOs in Grapevine, and you're going to see all kinds of FSBOs. That's opportunity. What other threats are there? There might be other agents who might chase FSBOs, but they're not going to have as good a plan as you. If you plan and work with your strengths, you address your weaknesses, and you find out what you need to do to be successful. Paul's exactly right. 2 to 3, that's what I would suggest. 1 primary to keep it going. Okay. Now, in your 2023 business goals, this is what I'm asking you to do. As we go all the way to the back, you're going to see this. This accounts for every day of the year. So if you need to see every day of the year on a calendar, here it is. And it's listed, that's why it's crooked, by days of the week. So I want you to go back to that. I want you to reference that. And I want you to be able to figure out how many total days that you plan on working in 2023. Don't skip this, you guys. If you were in business in 2022, one of the things you can do right now, if you tracked anything, many of you haven't, is to track what you did in 2022 so you know what you need to improve in 2023. Okay, so you could just split this in half, put a line through the center, and you could say in 2022, I worked whatever, 164 days. This year, I plan to work 182. Total days that you're going to prospect, days that you're going to knock doors, days that you're going to pick up the phone and call people. You know, if you use the Tom Ferry principle, it's called 5-5-4. And with Tom Ferry, he teaches that you have 5 conversations with people in your database every single day. And when you're done, you start over. 5 conversations. Look on your phone today and see how many contacts that you have in your phone. You can start there. You can consider that your database if you don't have a CRM. That's 5. Another 5 are conversations with new people. Meet 5 new people. Make it a point to meet 5 new people every day. If you need to pick up the phone, pick up the phone and call people. That could be FSBOs, okay? 5 conversations with new people and 4 follow-up conversations. Follow up with those clients that you worked with. See how happy they are with the process that you went through. Make sure you get a testimonial. Make sure that they are people that will refer you to others. Pick up the phone. Conversations can also be with other exit agents. You know that on our exit corporate site, there is a listing of all the offices are there. Go to each office. Pick an office. It can be next door to us. It can be in another state. It doesn't matter. Call agents and let them know that, hey, if anybody's moving to Grapevine, if anybody's moving to Dallas, I want you to know I am the guy that can help your client. I would love for you to refer, and I would love to pay you an X amount referral fee. You know, when we were at convention, there's 2 people that in a convention that have done that very thing. Years ago, it was a gal that bought my office, Wannabeady. She went to the convention with intention And her intention was to meet as many people from other offices as she could, plant the seed that if they ever moved to Bend, Oregon, that she wanted to be the real estate agent. I can't tell you how many transactions she got from referrals. It was funny. When we did that business planning thing on the napkin that I led this meeting with, and we had the conversation and we talked about last year, I think that particular year, if I remember correctly, I'm not going to look back at it, I think she did 23 transactions. And I said, well, what was the source of the transactions, Juana? She said 18 were referrals. 18 were referrals? How do you do that? And she said, I work all of my clients to make sure they refer everybody to me. Okay. Another person is Kim with 2 M's here. This gal went to convention this year and she made it a point to talk to as many people as she possibly could to plant the seed that, listen, I am the person in Dallas, Fort Worth. If you need somebody in DFW, send them to me because people are moving to Texas and I am your gal. Am I right, Kim?
Yeah, can I say something really quick?
Please do. Please do.
So the one goal that I have, and I've done it, 5 exit people a week. Just exit people from across wherever. And I've added 4 this week so far, and it's this Thursday.
Yeah, that's crazy. And is it hard? No, but you're doing it with intent. You're doing it on purpose, and you're doing it consistently, and you have a goal in mind. And yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but I just closed a deal today that was a referral. I just sent another one down to Beaumont, Texas, and I have one in Killeen, Texas right now. And the one in Beaumont is under contract as of yesterday.
There you go. So there's a hint of something that you could do right now. 5 conversations with your database, 5 conversations with new people, 4 follow-up conversations. Where are people moving from? Coming to Texas. They're moving from California. They're moving from New York. Call some of those offices. They know that they're bleeding people to Texas. Just let them know, listen, I know that a lot of people are leaving your area. I just want you to know that if and when they do leave, I'd like to be the source to pay you a referral fee for them coming to Texas. And I'm your person. Okay, so we can work through this. I don't have to explain this, but you can see the numbers that you need to figure out. These are numbers that we're going to need from you so we know how many days that you're willing to work. You might want to add 18. And 18 might be the number of days you're going to work in the office. Many of us have gotten away from the office. It's easy to work from home. COVID changed the way people work. But I can tell you, working in the office has benefits. The people who know are in the office and they can help you. And you're focused. You don't have a crying grandchild like I have in the other room. You are focused on your business. Write down number 18, the days that you plan to work in the office. Paul has put in an atmosphere that is professional and easy to get to, easy to work. Okay, 18, add it, please. Okay, so here's some other things for you to do as you're working on your plan. Remember, I said tonight is not going to be your finished product. This is a work in progress. What are going to be your lead sources? Is it going to be just referrals? Is it going to be from your clients? Are you going to pay Realtor.com and Zillow gobs of money? Or are your lead sources going to be from knocking doors, from wearing out shoe leather? That's where the money is, you guys. Because conversion rates are not good with anything. It's the numbers. Door knocking conversion rates for all the doors that you do is about 2%. You knock 100 doors, you may have 2 people that want your help, that may need your help. If you're doing cold calling, it's about 1.7%. If you're paying for leads, it's about 1 to 3%. I don't know why you would pay for leads when you have the ability to pick up a telephone, you have the ability to text people, you have the ability to knock doors, you have the abilities to have a geographical farm. why you want to spend, why anybody would want to spend, although it works fabulously for people. I don't get it. I like controlling what I spend. Here's challenges that you need to solve. This might go back to, your weaknesses up above that we talked about. Okay. There's some repetition in here. Okay. So what do you need? What challenges do you have? What accountability mechanisms can I put in place? How can you do this? Who is going to help you? You can't go alone. Please don't go alone. We're a team. I refer to anybody that I talk to as that I'm part of a team at EXIT Realty Elite made up of 28 real estate professionals that help me help you sell your home. They're part of my team. You guys are part of my team. You don't even know it, but you're part of my team. And if I need you, I know I can reach out to you to help me. What type of training are you going to do? Don't think that it's all over, Anthony and Michael. This is only the beginning. The training that you went through to get a license probably has little to do with what your business actually has to do, right? They gave you everything you needed to pass a damn test, and congratulations, you passed the test, but very little was taught to you about what you need to do in the business, unfortunately. If anything, I think they should add another 30 hours, and the 30 hours should be strictly for how to do business, how to do a profit loss statement, how to do your expenses, how to know how to prospect, where to get the scripts that you need, how to learn the language, have the words, but they don't. That's what we're here for. Okay. And here's the hour by hour plan for a real estate agent's perfect days. I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to cut to the chase and get to the bottom. And here's a sample. I can't impress upon you enough about the importance of having a calendar where you can schedule what you're doing every day. That calendar is attached. I've talked to several of you ad nauseum about this. You need to plan your day. You need to know what you're doing from 9 to 9:30. It needs to be focused so you can do your 5 conversations. And eat the frog, everybody. Eat the damn frog. It doesn't taste very good, but get it out of the way. Get it out of the way early so you can spend the afternoons to prospect, for appointments, to do the things you need to do to be successful. Again, do you remember what I said at the very beginning? And it wasn't me that said it. It was whoever it was. I can't find it now, but it said that I can look at your calendar and I know how successful you are. It's the truth. And what I'm going to ask all of you is to get this calendar started. It's not going to be finished. You might want to move around times. You've got to work with the calendar. Please, if you get anything, work from a calendar. It's a regimen that you have to go through. So here's an example. 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., go to the gym, eat well. 6 to 8, the morning routine. Set yourself up for the peak mental state that you need to be in. Journal, do affirmations. Gosh, EXIT even helps you with affirmations. There's a website built for us called Prompter, prompter.ca, that helps you with the affirmations. Okay, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Connect with your assistant if you have one. Go over the objective. If you don't have an assistant, you are that person. Go over what you need to do for that day. 9 to 10:30, appointment setting. 10:30 to 11, you get a break. You go for a walk. You get out of the office. You do something that clears the mind. Next, you prepare hot sheets and plan for the afternoon. 12 to 4:30 is for appointments and listing presentations. You want to set appointments. If you have appointments, you have a chance. You have a chance. Even if you suck at presentations that you have, you got a chance. You got a chance. But you have no chance if you don't talk to anybody. And you're going to learn by talking to people. 4:30 to 5 is your wrap up. 5 to 7 is your home with your family. Now, this is all shaped for what you want in your career. But no, you're not going to get $200,000 without having a plan like this every single day. And it starts with a calendar like this. So I'm done. It's pretty simple. This is not hard. It does take time, but you know now how many transactions you need to do to make the minimum amount. You have some ideas on what you can do to get to there by planning the activities that will pay you for the time that you put into the business. You know that you need to say no to things, and you need to address those things that we talked about. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to ask Bob to talk to us just briefly, and we're going to come back to what we started with. Now that we know what we talked about, I want you to pull this out, and we're going to come back to it. But until then, we're so lucky to have Bob, who lives in Grapevine, who is the Director of Leadership for EXIT Corporate International, and has been in the business for a long time. Most of all, he's just a really good man. Just a really good man. He's not only smart and knows stuff, he's a good man. And
well, those who disagree, I shoot them.
there you go. There you go. Go ahead, Bob.
I hope you're getting your cocktail ready because you've earned it. First of all, Jim, I want to be very, very personal here with you. I want to share my heart. What you just did here and the 15 projects leading up to this over the last month, exemplary, man. I think we all owe him some applause for this. Jim, fabulous job. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
It's indicative of something here. I just want to affirm all of this, and I'm going to be very brief here. This is my life. This is Bob's life. It's a file that says life plans. Some years ago, I stopped doing business plans and started doing life plans, which I included. Brian Tracy, I think, Paul, was the first real motivating speaker and writer that began to bring this planning process together to a science. It's very intentional. So I read Brian Tracy and I start working on my plans. And then I expand them over the years to life plans, so that it includes my real estate, my business, my transaction, my money. Then it started including my physical habits, my relationships, my spiritual conditions. And so this is a folder of life plans. Now let me just show you something. Here's my 2016 life plan. My gosh, it's 6 pages long. Here's 2014. Here's 2011. It even has some graphics on it. It says treasure map, finding the treasure in my life awaiting in 2011. Oh, I mean, so guess what? I have drank the Kool-Aid here, and I so affirm the process of what brought us to tonight. I just so affirm that personally. Because I tell you, until we get that little map, until we say, and you know, right now, guys, Michael and some of you are new, let's not overstress this. I mean, I got a little easy business plan you can fill out in 1 page, for crying out loud. And that may be a good place for you to start. But boy, all this stuff is thought-provoking. And what do I need? And what are the numbers? And what are the science of it? So I fully affirm what's going on here. But here, again, on a personal level, what's going on here tonight is more important even than the business plan. We're a group of people here. For whatever reason, we've all signed up and we're on the same boat together. If we're all in the same boat, what's the advice? Not just to row the damn thing. Why don't we row it together? Now we're on the cusp of something. We just heard Paul saying, okay, I'm consolidating. I'm bringing together leadership. I'm bringing together tools and system. Guess who all of this is for? Don't miss this point. Everything that we've discussed here tonight, Tony, Kara, Cortez, Kim, Tom, everything we've discussed here is for you. Period. Al, I mean, we're all in for you, bud. We're all in for you, Jerry. Michael, in your newness, we know that you probably don't have enough information to know what you're doing yet. But guess what? Our arms are open to you and say, just come on in, get into this group. Let us get to know you. Let us get to help you. Let us get to love you. And let's do something special together. I learned from Steve Morris himself, the four paradigms at looking at things. The first paradigm is me. I'm going to look at everything through my vantage point and what do I need, what do I want, and what's comfortable for me. Well, the second paradigm is you. What? You know, I don't think the way Paul does. I don't think the way Jim does. But as long as we stay in those two separate categories, you and me, we will get nothing done. The third paradigm is we've come together and create an us. Me, you, us. Once that us starts getting created, magic happens. That's the definition of synergy. 1 and 1 no longer equals 2. 2 and 2 could equal 8. Why? Because of the synergy we start bringing together. That's why it's so important, I think, in 2023. Folks, let's get back together. Let's come to the office. Get out of your houses, get out of your jammies, get out of your trucks, and come to the office. Why? Because you, me, when we create an us, now we can focus on the it. What's the it? Well, Paul's explaining it to you. I'm going to consolidate and bring all the power into one place like a magnifying glass. He's adjusting it to get it to come down to where, you know, you used to get a magnifying glass and a leaf and set it on fire. Remember that? That's because we take all of that energy and consolidate it right together so that you, me, create an us that can produce an it. The it is, why don't we have one of the finest real estate offices in Dallas, Texas? There's 36,000 realtors in this Dadburn town, of which half of them are underserved. What if we created a place working together that wherever you are in your real estate career, you bring you into it, we'll bring us, and we'll create an us that can help you grow. And when you grow, we all grow, and we build a company that Paul says, now that's what I've been looking for. See, what Paul's asking you to do is to sign up. In all of my coaching of real estate offices over, 30 years, I've been doing this. I've been selling franchises and coaching offices and trying to build the brand. I've always said, and folks, if you go back and study performance, how do people, all performance begins with expectation. What? If we wander around individually and there's nothing expected of us, we'll just meander around as little individuals. I would like to introduce some expectations to you. Robert F. Mager says in performance, all performance starts with expectation. Clearly define what is expected. And all of a sudden confusion goes away. So, you know what I'm going to tell you? There's 3 P's in real estate expectation. P number 1. We expect you as members of this team. I don't care who you are, how long you've been on it, Tony and Kim, here's what we expect. We expect you to be a positive contributor. We don't need negative Neds and Nellies out there always moaning and groaning about the marketplace or the coffee's too cold, or I don't know. We need some positive people. As I'm looking around here, if I ask, are you willing to bring a positive contribution to this team? I suspect your hand would go up. Number 2, we expect you to participate. P number 2. Baptists expect you to come to church on Sunday. Rotarians ask you to come to the meeting on Wednesday. How can you create a church, a Baptist, a Rotary Club, a real estate office if we don't come together? So I want you to look at something different. You get an announcement from Paul. We're going to have a class on. We expect you to participate. Can I be any more clear? We expect you to. Come on. I mean, I know, my gosh, I live too. I travel all over the country. I do all this stuff. But by golly, when Jim and Paul said, I'm going to have a meeting with the team on Thursday night from 6 to 8, I said, are you kidding me? Just like you did. But guess what? Here I am. Here you are. If we expect each other to come, let's get together, let's be together, let's build something special, then I expect you to be positive and I expect you to participate. No questions asked. If we're going to have something, if we're going to have a party, if we're going to go get together and have drinks someplace, then let's participate. Number 3, produce. This is a sales business, for crying out loud. We're involved in selling things. That's the way all of you know that you're going to make some money. You got to go sell something. This company has defined minimum standards. EXIT Realty has defined if you do 7 or less transactions, you are considered part-time in our 1075 program. Part-time is 8 transactions. What if I said to you, okay, we'll even give you sponsoring. But what if I said to you, watch my lips, I expect you to do 8 transactions a year, 2 a quarter. Now, if you threw a sponsor in there, okay, that counts as one of the 8. That's too cool. You're sitting back going, wait a minute, Bob, 8. Well, first of all, the EXIT came up with the number 2. Number 2, making a living comes into it. These numbers Jim just gave you, you got to start there. So I need to make $100,000. I want to make $100,000, which means I got to do 8, 9 transactions. But you put together 8 transactions in this company, and this marketplace, for crying out loud, Southlake just went over $1 million median price. Grapevine, 500,000. Colleyville, 7,200, 7,023. I know my numbers. Folks, my heart to you. We can stay me and you all day long. We can do it forever if you want to, but by God, I'm suggesting, why don't we come together and create an us? And then we together with Paul and everybody else we could create a real estate office up here in North Texas that's a beacon to people who said, man, you go to that office, you do better, period. What if we had that reputation, for crying out loud? You go to that office, you do better. Why? Because that's the way we think. That's what makes us tick. We want you to do better. Now, we could boil Paul Rich down to one drop. And it would be, why is he doing all of this for all of this time? Why did he pick up the flag in Frisco instead of letting it drop? because he's all in for creating an environment, a team, a family that will help each other to become a absolute guiding light for real estate people in North Texas. That's a pretty cool mission, if you ask me. But we need you. We need you to be positive. We expect you to be positive. Come on, support the team. We expect you to participate. Let's stop begging you and saying, oh my gosh, and end up with 3 people there. Come on. If you're asked to show up, show up. Number 3, we're asking you to produce 8 transactions a year minimum. Now, once we throw that exit, now does that clear things up? Any questions? Pretty clear, isn't it? Positive, participatory, producing. Now we start coming together to build that us. And then that us can do some pretty magical things. Each one of you came here tonight with different motives, different needs. Paul, his heart is exactly in the right place. He wants to help you. He wants to help all of us. And my God, I've never seen a more loving heart than Jim Mazziotti's. I mean, that man has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. He'll walk off a cliff to do something to help you. Well, I don't know if I feel like going to that training today or not. Bullshit. Oops. Pardon my French. What? You don't feel like going to it? Folks, we need a powerful office in North Texas right here. We need one right here. And I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. So all I could say is those 3 Ps are real. They're real simple. And they're two-way streets. We all have to participate and we all have to contribute and produce. Come on, we got to produce something. My goal is to sponsor 10 people into this company next year. That's my personal goal. Well, guess what? I want you to welcome my 10 people, my 10 people in there. And so you might say, look, hey, that's a pretty good idea. I think I'll sponsor 2 into it myself. And before long, we've got 60 real producing agents. Anthony, we're happy to have you. We're here to support you. We appreciate your experience. Michael, we're here to just love on you, bud. And all of you, let's get up, let's get stronger, let's make these plans. Come on. I'm telling you, these work. It's just something real special about what we can do here tonight. If we just look at this group, feel the love, feel the purpose, feel the mission. We got everything we need. So I'm looking at every one of you. Paul needs you. Mike and Jim are ready to, I mean, those 2 guys, you ever seen tag team wrestling? Where one guy's in there wrestling, the other one's out there. He's got his arm through the ropes like, come on, tap me on the fingers and I'll get to jump in there. You see, that's what Michael and Jim are doing. I mean, they got their arms in and you just touch them and they'll jump in the ring. Here they go. Well, guess what? We need, and so we asked Kim, would you be a technology advisor to our company? We touched her finger. She jumped in the ring. I don't think you even knew what you were doing at the time, Kim. She just said, yes, I'll do it. Al, we need you, buddy. Jerry, we need you. Michael, Tony. Kara, of course, I could read them all. We need you all. You, me, no more. Us. Us. That's my sermon, Jimbo.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you so much. And so we're up against the clock. We went to where yikes, we're 3 minutes over. So I'm going to end very quickly. Put it together. If you need help, reach out. I just want to end with two quotes. They're very short, but they're quotes that mean something to me. One quote is from John Maxwell, and both Bob and I are part of the John Maxwell team. John Maxwell is considered the top leadership coach in the world, the author of 70 books. And his quote is, "You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret to success is found in your daily routine."
Amen.
I think that's what we talked about today.
Yeah, Jim Rohn said it. He said that success is the daily execution of a simple plan. Same thought, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to mention is I want to show you something. It's one of my most prized possessions. It's a compass. It's a beautiful compass encased in metal. And it was given to me by Tammy Bonnell. Tammy Bonnell believes in finding your true north, in finding the place that you need to go to, the true north. And so this compass reminds me of it. It's on my desk. Sometimes I'll put the lid on it and I'll put it together and I'll carry it in my pocket. I always have to put a belt on first or my pants will fall down. And it's encased in metal with the compass. And inside, you won't be able to see it, but inside the compass, the case itself, there's a poem. You can't see it, but you can kind of see a little bit. And it's a poem by Robert Frost. Robert Frost, and it's a beautiful poem that he wrote called "The Road Not Taken." And the key from that is you'll take the road less traveled if you do what we talked about tonight. You're going to be on the road less traveled because few people are willing to do what's been asked of you tonight to put together your plan. So in Robert Frost's words, take the road less traveled. Let's move this thing together, you guys. And I got to tell you, it's really been an honor to be with you. Thank you for putting up with me. One thing that you can do is let everybody else who's not here tonight know why they should have been here. I'm not going to talk down to anybody, but let them know if you've got anything from this, how important it was, and that they missed something, that they should have been here. And I appreciate all of you. So have a good night. It's 8:06, and I'll talk to you soon. Let's get busy.
Thanks, Jim.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.